Hello everyone, this is a Digital Bug deck profile for the end of February 2020. So this deck being only from a few years ago, you'd think it'd be able to output a better board, but it's really entirely normal summon reliant, and on top of that, it doesn't set up anything else. So Traptrix is another normal summon heavy deck, but at least you get to set up back row alongside your normal. Some decks also can special from the deck upon normal summon or do some other really powerful or strong thing, but this deck is just painfully underwhelming. Most of the time you have one lone monster on the field and you end your turn, or at most one XYZ monster in the extra zone. And none of the time will you be getting like a link monster pointing down to an XYZ monster in one turn, and there's like no interruption either. So still a cool deck though, so let's begin. 3 Digital Bug Centipede. So when this card is changed from attack to defense position, you special a level 3 insect from the deck. So specialing from the deck is normally good, but this effect takes a lot of setup because you have to normal summon this monster first and then wait a turn, unless you have another Digital Bug or Stumbling, but it usually takes a bit of time. So you can see how it gets slow. It also gives a bonus effect though to your XYZ monster that use this card as material, allowing you to attack all defense position monsters your opponent controls once each. So this is actually one of the best Digital Bugs, but even still, it's just not very good, honestly. 3 Web Solder. So this one allows you to change one of your other Digital Bugs to defense and activate their effects, but you do need to wait a turn because you need to normal summon, for example, Centipede, the card I just showed, and then the next turn you normal summon this card and then switch Centipede to defense position with this card. So it takes a while. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks really won't let you wait an entire turn like that, so it gets bad. Again, the XYZ monster that used this card as material does get a bonus effect, switching them to defense mode and then switching opponent's monsters to defense mode and turning their defense to 0. 3 Ladybug. Either through Web Solder, Stumbling, or just manually switching to battle position. When this card is changed to defense mode, you can add from deck to hand. So all of these monsters do have pretty standard and honestly strong sounding effects. They would seem like they would be good, but they didn't. But they do come at the price of such a slow maneuver of changing from attack to defense position. This one does have another bonus effect, like the best one. It allows you to draw when your XYZ monster uses this card, destroys an opponent's monster by battle. 3 Cocoon Denser. So this one switches itself to defense mode and then specials from the grave. So again, bonus effect, when the XYZ monster uses this card as material, attacks defense position monster, no cards or effects can be activated, which again is not very good, and is also why Stumbling, the spell card, is a pretty good card in this deck, because a lot of this deck revolves around defense position. 2 Galaxy Worm, another normal summon reliant card here. Special summons the other one from the deck when it's normal summoned. This one at least gives you some momentum in the same turn because you normal summon it and you can go right into a rank 3 that turn. But I only run 2 because if you use 1 and you special the second, the third one can be dead. 1 Bocce. So I see a lot of Digital Bug decks using this card, but honestly it could be something else. There are a lot of other options. It just fits in because it's a level 3 insect with an XYZ based effect. So now for my Sea Engine 2, Confronting the Sea. This is an easy body to put on the board when the opponent specials from the extra deck, and is also searchable by Retaliating Sea. 2 Super Armored Robot Armed Black Iron Sea. If you have 3 insects with the same name engraved, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can equip them to this card. With a lot of 3-ofs insect monsters in this deck, in the mid to late game it can be easy to special summon this card, and if you do make it in that long in the duel, which you probably won't, it can be good to just pop your opponent's monsters with attack greater than or equal to the attack of the monster that is equipped with this card. 1 Contact Sea. So when your opponent normal summons or specials a monster, you can special this card to your opponent's field, and they can't special from the extra deck unless they use this card as material. So most of the time the opponent can just use this card as material, but sometimes it can slow them down. And then finally 1 Retaliating Sea. So when your opponent activates a spell card that specials a monster, you can special this card. And then it has kind of a Banisher of the Light type effect, banishing all cards that are sent to the graveyard. Then this card, upon hitting the graveyard, searches Contact or Confronting the Sea. This card's banishing effect can actually be used more easily than a trap like Macrocosmos. It can be put on the field faster, and if you do need to use the graveyard later for something like the Digital Bug Trap, you can link this card away. So hand traps, 3 Honest. This card really keeps this deck in the game. It protects all of your Digital Bug main and extra deck monsters from battle and can surprise your opponent like it can in a lot of decks, even though they'll probably have like 5 other ways to get rid of your monster even before the battle phase even begins. And 3 Ash Blossom. So I was thinking about putting some Kaijus in, but Ash is just a really good card. 3 Bug Matrix for our spells. This is the field spell that boosts your monster's attack and defense by 300 and allows you to attach an insect from your hand as material to the XYZ monster you control. So it would be better if it were attaching from the deck, but at least with this slow deck, you're really only using 1 monster out of your hand per turn for your normal summon anyway, so you probably have cards in your hand to use on Bug Matrix. 3 Bug Signal. This is the rank up quick play spell for digital bugs, turning your Scare Radiator into a Corbage or a Corbage into a Rhinoceros. 2 Stumbling. So this card is very helpful in this deck. It does keep this deck a little bit more in the game too. A lot of this deck revolves around defense position or changing from attack to defense position. So I would play 3, but I found that it breaks at 3. 1 Monster Reborn in Terraforming, so this is a staple, and this searches Matrix. And then 3 Bug Emergencies for the last cards in the main deck. This is a double Monster Reborn in this deck in trap form. It also has a banish effect to make your level 3 insects you control all become a level equal to the rank of the XYZ monster you banished alongside this card from the graveyard. So it allows you to go into a Corbage or a Rhinoceros, which are the rank 5 and 7s, using just main deck monsters and not having a lower rank XYZ monster already on the field. For the extra deck, 2 Scare Radiators. So you'd attach 2 materials to change the battle position of an opponent's monster and negate its effect. So would be all right if it were a quick effect, but it isn't. But at least you can replenish this card's materials through its effect when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle or through Bug Matrix. It is the go-to XYZ monster in this deck, but it does stand a really small chance against modern decks because this is usually all you can produce in 1 turn and it doesn't have a quick effect. 2 Corbage. Summon this card on top of Scare Radiator. It shuffles an opponent's monster, defense position monster into the deck. Again, kind of weak. It's not a quick effect and it only works on defense position monsters. 2 Rhinoceros. So this is the boss monster that does piercing, but more importantly, it pops your opponent's monster with the highest defense, just like Smashing Ground. And Smashing Ground was actually quite a good card back in the day. 1 number 38. So I have this in here because theoretically you can put 2 of the level 8 C's on the field at the same time. This is really the best monster in the extra deck, but unfortunately this deck has a hard time summoning it. It has a quick effect to negate spells. It redirects attacks to itself, also buffs other XYZ monsters' attack. I was going to play Lancelot, but this card can actually protect your other monsters, which is important in this digital bug deck because a lot of them are pretty weak. For the links to Inzektor Picofalenas. So discard a card, then equip from the deck to another monster, and then that equipped monster is buffed. But more importantly, it has a Daigusto Emerald type of effect, shuffling from grave into the deck and then drawing. 2 Seraphim Papillion. So gains counters for the number of insect monsters used for this card as material, and then as a quick effect you can remove counters to special from the grave. This card, it does help to output more monsters on the field, but the main deck is so slow it really doesn't make a difference. 2 Hippotionigans, just like Honest, you just gotta have that light support. And then 2 boss monsters, 1 Borreload and 1 Skull Dread. So these cards just go in any deck, and this card can just definitely save you the game sometimes. And that's pretty much it for the Digital Bug deck profile for the end of February 2020. This deck, it suffers from Master Rule 4, but this is my attempt to make it work. So thanks, see you later.